Hey friend, hope you're well. The end of 21 Pilots' conceptual lore and masterful world making has finally and unfortunately come to an end with the release of Breach. It's finally here, only a year after Clancy was released, and the release of this grungy alt-rock album will leave many fans very happy, but also many feeling quite empty inside. City Walls is only the opening track on this album, yet it marks the end of this lore with the Banditos and Torchbearer helping Clancy overcome the city walls and breach Dima. Now, this 10-minute music video has a lot to unpack. There's a lot of lore, there's a lot of callbacks to older songs as well. It starts off with the Banditos and Josh as the Torchbearer who overcome and breach the city walls and help catch up to Clancy, who, if we remember correctly, climbed a tower at the end of Paladin Strait to confront Nico. Now, we get this amazing duel between Clancy and Nico, which is just absolutely bonkers. I mean, the production value of that is just amazing. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but this music video had a budget of $1 million, which makes it one of the most expensive produced music videos to date. But unfortunately, towards the end of the music video, we see Clancy losing to Nico and eventually becoming one of the bishops. We then see 8 of the Banditos being recruited by Clancy, now becoming a bishop, to sort of signify Nico and the Niners in a way. You also see the Torchbearer's betrayal to this event occurring, and you can see he feels like he's failed, but the end of the music video is quite hopeful. You know, not everyone will make it out, but we'll try again. If you've been a fan for a long time, this will be very emotional to you, and it may feel like a bad ending in a way, but I feel like it's kind of the point of the whole album as a whole. So let's dive into each of the tracks, shall we? The opening track, City Walls, has everything. It flows gracefully, it has an epic intro, and it just kicks ass, to be honest. It feels like it has this Linkin Park vibe production on it. And shout out to Paul Meany, who helps Tyler Joseph produce this album. I feel like he works with 21 Pilots so well, especially on their flawless album, Trench, as well as their previous fantastic album, Clancy. And he does the same on this album. He just knows the boys in and out so well. He knows the story. He knows what they're going for in terms of portraying mental health struggles through music, and it just comes off really well on this album. But yeah, like I was saying, I think the fans will love this opening track, City Walls, potentially marking it as one of their best songs in their discography to date. But yeah, this song really packs a punch. It's got the callbacks to Holding On To You towards the end, which I really loved, with the Entertain My Faith, with Tyler's vocals erupting throughout the scene. And it's also got, at the end, a snippet of Heavy Dirty Soul, which sort of signifies how the whole lore and the story of the mental health struggles is a bit of a cycle.
Raw fear moves me, sounds of empty Uzis. Life is just forever nipping hills, never slowing down.
The next song, Raw Fear, flows really nicely, and I feel like Josh carries the song excellently throughout, even though this wasn't my favorite on initial listen. The lyrics can get a bit repetitive towards the end, especially in the chorus, but I think Tyler's vocals are excellent on this song. And also Tyler's daughters are responsible for those haunting screams throughout the song, which I found quite funny, but it's a nice touch to the song, I think. The lyrics, "It is not pass or fail, but poisonous progression," really stuck out to me. I think that's a fantastic line, and coincidentally, it's also one of Tyler's favorite lines on his album, hence why the song means so much to him. But yeah, this song talks about having to fail in order to progress as a person, which I think symbolizes the theme of this album quite nicely, especially going in, as this is only the second track. But I think this song gives really nice Blurryface vibes with a hint of Vessel, which we'll see quite a lot later on in this album. If you watch my previous review on the song Drum Show, you'll know I absolutely love that song. I think it's definitely one of the catchiest and most fun songs on this album, which is why I think it's a good choice as a single. You see the Torchbearer getting the spotlight on this song with Josh on the vocals for the first time. It's really energetic and catchy, so it's definitely an easy favorite on this album.
I feel like garbage.
The next song, Garbage, is not a great way of describing the song. This song has a really nice, hopeful undertone, and it has a beautiful piano to carry the track and melody nicely throughout. Again, Tyler's vocals really shine here, and it showcases his progression as a musician really well. The guitars towards the end of the song really scratches an itch in your brain, and I think the pleading vocals towards the end of Please Don't Give Up on Me really symbolizes Clancy's monologue quite well after the breach of Dima and becoming a bishop himself. By this point, you can really tell that the rest of the album is going to be about Clancy's story post City Walls, post the music video, and post Law, sort of discussing his story, not as a bishop, but as Clancy himself. You know, Clancy is still alive, Clancy is still out there, but he's talking about how he's kind of completed his journey, but also failed in a way. Similarly, I think the lead single, The Contract, really pins the story of the album as a whole. It's a powerful anthem. I think it was a great lead single to lead with because it has a lot of callbacks to the Law, but it also really packs a punch. And I think this song, now that I've heard the album a few times, is meant to be sort of a flashback to Clancy's life in Dima.
Downstairs, I feel better in the cellar down there.
The next song, Downstairs, really took me by surprise because it sort of feels like a Vessel B-side that I actually wasn't too sure about to begin with. It makes sense that this song sounds like a Vessel B-side because apparently this song was a demo that sat on Josh's laptop for the past 14 years, and they finally thought, you know what, let's make this into a song. And I think the OG fans will love it, but I can also see how this song may divide newer listeners. If you're an old school fan, you'll definitely love this track, but I do think the chorus is a crazy earworm. I can see how it's super catchy and it carries its energy really well throughout. The drums and piano really carry the melody super well here, and again, the bridge and the outro just really pack a punch. There's a lot of energy and a lot of production value. There's a lot of layers here to unpack as well. The song itself is about pushing your negative emotions down to one side and moving on forward. And like I said, this song gives huge regional best and Vessel vibes, which many will love.
I just wanna dance in style and stay a while. The lines on the floor.
Now, onto the B side of this album, Robot Voices, I originally thought was going to be about how AI is being introduced into Dima. Luckily, it's not. Now, the start of the song was a bit slow and it originally didn't sell me, but my mind changed as soon as I heard the chorus. Yes, the lyrics are a little bit goofy, but the hook is really groovy, it's super catchy, and I think this song will get bounced around our heads quite a lot. But the origin of the song is really interesting. The song originally comes from the New York band Blanket Approval, and I think Tyler heard the song and he was really interested in the narrative of it. He thought it would fit on the album quite nicely, so he thought he'd remix it and switch the bridge with the chorus. So the bands end up collaborating, and as a result, they will receive half of the split of the royalties and also a new deal with a new publisher, which I think is a really nice gesture from Tyler's behalf.
A little softer than I used to be. Used to mouth off often with artillery. Now with his cough drops and soft spots in the middle seat. Right this way.
Did anyone else's jaw just drop? Aside from the rap on City Walls, I think the raps on this song, Center Mass, are some of Tyler's best since the works of Levitate. I love the lo-fi and vintage feel on the production of the song. I think it starts off really nice. It sort of sets the mood before just surprising you out of nowhere. You know, the flow of the song and just the instrumentation all around is just excellent. The repeat of Right This Way sort of feels like Clancy inviting future Banditos to come and hear his story on how he stood up to Nico and the Niners. He talks about his heroic acts and how to overcome his mental health struggles. Although you may not come out on top every time, there's still ways to help yourself and become a better person. Now, Center Mass refers to the most vulnerable body part during combat, which I think is a really clever metaphor for discussing anxiety and self-protection. I absolutely love the image that this banger of a track portrays right into the outro, where it sort of becomes a bit more mellow and then Tyler's vocals just explode. Like I said, 21 Pilots just knows how to make a fantastic bridge and outro, and I think Paul Meany really helps to bring this song to life. This song is just exquisite all round. It's a nice blend of their trench sound, but also with a dash of uniqueness.
I've been catching my reflection.
Now next we have Cottonwood, which is a melancholy feeling and mellow track, which sort of feels like a sibling track to Legend due to it being about discussing the passing of his late grandfather. Although this song didn't captivate me at first, it's a very nice bittersweet track which sort of smooths out the momentum of the track listing here.
I wanted to fly.
One Way is a hopeful song about the acceptance of reality. I mean, don't we all want to fly sometimes? Lyrically, the song is really solid with its metaphors for outside struggles and inner doubts holding oneself back. And to be honest, I just think the song is an all-round super solid performance from the boys. And thank you to Josh for deciding to transition this sweet energy switch to the next song, Days Lie Dormant.
My days lie dormant, 'cause I just can't afford it.
Days Lie Dormant is an epic and sweet song dedicated to being homesick from Tyler's wife, Jenna, which I know there's no specific love song for Jenna on this album, like there have been for previous albums with Tearing My Heart on Blurry Face, you have Smithereens on Trench, then you have Formidable on Scaled and Icy, and Clancy also had The Craving, which to be fair feels like a sort of send-off song, not to end their relationship, but sort of to, solidify their love in one final song. And I think because Breach came so shortly after Clancy, this may be why there's no specific song for Jenna, but there's still a lot of references to how their love will remain super strong throughout. But I do think this song is probably the closest on this album to being dedicated towards Tyler's family. And I'm surprised we didn't get a song dedicated for Debbie as well, considering Josh has recently announced that he's going to become a father, which is amazing. But I feel like maybe Josh's vocals on Drum Show was enough of an ode to Debbie. But this song is absolutely awesome. I love it, and I think it's a really nice letter of love and just showing how no matter where you are in the world, he's always going to be thinking about his loved ones.
You were keeping track.
Okay, look, City Walls is fantastic. It's probably easily one of their best songs to date, but I think Tally might be tied for the best song on this album. The energy on this song is just unmatched. The vocals and drums are just beautiful in this song, and the chorus just simply gets me hyped. The song is about struggling to come to terms with betraying someone that was very close to you, and this may relate back to the City Walls music video where Clancy betrayed the torchbearer. I mean, we all need a torchbearer in our lives, right? We all need a Josh Dunn to help us get through our struggles. I think having the song near the end of the album really picks the momentum and energy right back up. I mean, we know the boys are excellent at writing a bridge and outro, but wow, I mean, Tyler's vocals just explode here, and Josh never disappoints. I think the production on this song is perfect, and as a whole, this song is a perfect ode to their older material, but at the same time, it's also very unique.
Intentions will set you free.
Okay, who's cutting the onions here? The last song on this album, Intentions, is a hauntingly beautiful song about the cycle of one's mental health struggles. I think this song is about coming to terms and accepting the fact that, everyone's going to have some bad mental health days, even though you might be progressing in terms of your mental health struggles. Now, this song may seem quite simplistic in its production, but really it's quite genius. I mean, the whole of the melody is the song Truce, but played in reverse. And if you reverse the whole song, even Tyler's vocals and lyrics on this song match that of Truce in terms of the pitch and tone, which I think is quite amazing and mind-blowing when you first realize. I think this signifies the end and the start of the story, with Truce maybe being the start of the law before it goes into Heavy Dirty Soul. and all the way into Intentions finally becoming the end of this whole lore that Tyler and Josh produced so masterfully. It's not a song that I find myself coming back to a lot just because it's so sad. I mean, I know Leave the City on Trench is a quite sad song as well, but that song has a lot of layers to it and it's there to build your emotions. Whereas I feel like Intentions is a fantastic song, but it's really raw and it's got a very sad undertone, although it's meant to signify the end of the story here. Now, a little extra, but not everyone has heard the song Drag Path, which was released as a bonus track, and a lot of people are saying that might be one of 21 Pilots' best song to date. Now, I think there's a reason that Tyler left this off the album. I think it's meant to be consumed separately, although it would be a fantastic addition to the album. Dare I say, it could be a good replacement to Raw Fear or Downstairs, for example. But like I said, I think it's intentional, and I think Tyler wanted to keep this song separate from the album. It's just a special little thank you to all the fans from Tyler and Josh, it feels like. I actually expected this album to sound a lot darker, but I do think Paul Meany of Mute Math is an absolute genius when it comes to working with the boys. I think he knows how to make their sound stand out. He knows the story in and out so well. He really understands the band's grunginess in terms of sound, and he understands the conceptual darkness that the boys want to portray through their music. You know, their music is to symbolize mental health struggles, and the lore is just an extra addition that they ran with, and it has just worked so well throughout the past decade. It's gotten fans engaged, and it just comes off excellently. I think this is a fantastic roundup to the whole story. I was really impressed with this album. When I first heard City Walls, I was like, okay, yeah, this song is going to be grungy as hell, but actually it took the opposite turn, and it had a lot of hopeful undertones. I think because it's meant to talk about Clancy's story post the City Walls breach and after losing to his own struggles. So despite Clancy failing his journey, I think, like I said, there's a bit of a hopeful undertone in that, like Josh mentions in the music video for City Walls, you know, it's not over. Clancy is out there. They're going to try again.
But that's not Clancy up there anymore. He's out there somewhere. And we will try again.
And I think that's the whole point of the story. Yes, it might seem a bit cheesy, you know, there's a bad ending, but we'll try again. It's a whole cycle that repeats itself. I think it's actually a very realistic end to the story because one's mental health struggles never really truly come to an end. They just find ways to overcome it. But yeah, this album is fantastic. I listened to it at least 5 times now, start to finish, and I just keep enjoying it more and more. There's more little elements and production quirks that I find each time, which I really love. And although I'm really sad that 21 Pilots are not going to be touring the UK for this album, I do hope they enjoy their break, and I hope Josh has a wonderful time bringing up his new family. But yeah, by no means was Clancy a bad album. That album was fantastic, but after hearing this album, I am going to bring Clancy down a little bit to a decent 8.5 out of 10. They experimented with a lot of sounds in that album, and I think they had less time to produce this album Breach, but it actually sounds more consistent, and I think the progression of Josh's drumming and Tyler's vocals have significantly improved throughout the years. So for that reason, I'm going to cement this new album Breach at a solid 9 out of 10. My favorite tracks on here include most of the album, to be honest. City Walls, Drum Show, Garbage, Center Mass, Days Lie Dormant, and Tally are probably my initial top picks. And in terms of least favorite tracks, because they're all actually quite good songs, I couldn't really decide. I think on first listen, my least favorite was probably Cottonwood, but the more I listen to the lyrics in that song, I'm sort of swaying towards my least favorite maybe being Raw Fear or Downstairs, although like I said, those are still really good songs. It just goes to show how consistent and fantastic this album is, and I think fans will really love this album, although I was sort of left feeling a bit empty inside because you sort of come to the realization that this is the end to the lore, which we have loved so much throughout these past years. But even though I do think 21 Pilots is going to go on a hiatus, I do think they'll return to making music. I'm sure they'll make some fantastically crafted and fun songs in the future. But yeah, I was a huge fan of this album, and I'd love to hear what you guys thought of this album as well. So please leave a comment below on your favorite tracks and what you thought of the album. And as always, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to hear more music reviews. And if this video gets enough love, then maybe I'll create a top 10 21 Pilots song list in the future. But yeah guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.